Hey guys, and welcome to Crazy Burger. So today I'm going to be looking at the Miyoo Mini Plus. Recently we looked at the Miyoo Mini, which is obviously the very small handheld, which I'll display in a little second. But this video we're going to be looking at the sort of upgraded version, so to speak, only by size mainly, the Miyoo Mini Plus. Let's get started. Okay, so the Miyoo Mini, I really loved it. I thought it was great, brilliant little handheld, and it came with this amazing little case. Sadly, the Plus doesn't come with a case. You have to actually buy that separately. So this is the Miyoo Mini, and we'll do some comparisons in a minute, but just to give you an idea of what we're comparing to. So let's have a quick look at the Miyoo Mini Plus. So the Miyoo Mini Plus, this is some of the specs that we've got here. Some basic stuff there. Battery life is probably the main thing that's been sort of changed. It's got a larger battery, but the battery life on the original Miyoo Mini was really good. That's the Miyoo Mini version 2 that I have. It's got a slightly bigger screen, 3.5 inch IPS screen, and more or less it's really the same sort of internals that the Miyoo Mini V2 is. And that's really it on the box, nothing really special. This one, it kind of just slides out like this. And you're kind of greeted with the actual handheld right away. It's in this lovely little packet. The usual stuff in the box, I'll have a look at that in a minute. We've got your instruction manual, which is kind of a usual useless stuff. There's actually a screensaver and screen protector, sorry, in here that you can put on. There's also the charge cable as usual. And there's a sort of USB sort of stick to transfer some games via computer if you wish, if you want to add more that's not already there. Which I've not done in this video. What I'm going to be doing is showing you this Miyoo Mini Plus as it is out the box rather than adding anything to it. And this is the Miyoo Mini Plus. This is the sort of colour scheme I got. It's available in a few different colour schemes. Obviously it's very much similar. You can get the same colour scheme as this one here, or you can pick a few different variants as well. You can see it's kind of similar. There are similarities if you sort of turn it around. You can see it's quite different on the back. The sort of R1, L1, L2 and L1 buttons are much easier to sort of use than the Mini V2. But yeah, the internals are pretty much the same. There's a sort of slight difference here. You've got the V2 here has got the sort of rocker for the volume control, whereas on this one it's sort of buttons, which I think is preferable to me. But everything else is pretty similar, to be honest. But yeah, you can see the size of the screen, it's nicer. And I have to admit, this Miyoo Mini Plus is definitely much more comfortable in the hand. Now, I absolutely loved the smaller console, but it is a little bit tiny and it does get a bit awkward to hold. But actually holding it like this with your sort of fingers resting on the sort of triggers at the back is really nice. I love the colours as well. I like this sort of style. It's kind of a translucent almost. You can see the internals a little bit. This is the speaker, same as the original, which kind of gets annoying sometimes. You might accidentally cover it with your finger and muffle the sound, but sort of nice buttons. This is a function button, I believe. This one here, it's not like an on-off switch. The on-off switch is up the top, which is located up here. Just hold that down to turn it on, and we've already said that's the volume. On the bottom here you've got your headphone jack, you've got your charge, USB-C charge. You've got a memory card already inserted. It should have some games already added. It's a 64 gig, probably not the greatest of memory cards included, but it is what it is. So we'll put that back in. So now you can add a different memory card if you want, but you would probably have to create all those folders as well, which might be a pain. But anyway, we're going to look at it as is, to be honest, rather than adding anything to it. We might look at adding other things in a future video. But yeah, so that's that. You've got your sort of trigger buttons here. These are actually quite nice. They're really just clicky buttons, nice soft clicky buttons. Not sure how many games you're actually going to use them, but anyway, just a quick comparison. This is the Anbernic RG353V, which kind of a bit similar. Obviously it's got the added analog sticks, which might help. It's kind of similar size, the screen looks pretty similar, but yeah, just didn't really like this one a lot. It's quite powerful, capable of doing a lot of stuff, but it was kind of a hard to set up, bit of a pain, but I didn't really enjoy it. It looks really nice though. It's got the same sort of layout at the back with the triggers, but yeah, the Miyoo Mini I think is definitely a better performer than that. I definitely prefer this one. It's much more comfortable, but yeah, it does only play up to PS1. I think anything above that might be pushing it a bit too far. Okay, turn the device on. This is what we'll be greeted with. Now you can actually connect it to the Wi-Fi, and I'm assuming you'll probably get some updates and things like that, but I'm not doing that in this video. I'm just going to look at what we really get out the box experience. The first thing you'll probably hear, we probably can't, I'll turn it up a little bit. It's kind of got that stolen music from, I think it's the PS Vita, PSP maybe? PS Vita I think it is. Music that stole from that, but yeah, kind of cool, but kind of not, yeah. So you can see the volume up at the top of the screen there, going up and down. But yeah, so let's have a look. This is what we're greeted with. Pretty simple functions. It is operating by Onion, I believe, because I think the original wasn't, and then upgraded it to the Onion operating system, and it's certainly much better. So out the box you should get a far better experience than the sort of smaller device, which is good. And it's very much plug and play. It's very simple. It's already set up for you. So if you don't really like tinkering, then you'll probably love this. This one's just plug and play. Obviously in here is all the recent stuff I've been playing. This one is obviously you can tag your favourites. All your favourite games goes in there as well. Easy enough to do. It's all straightforward enough. Then you've got a list of games, all the different stuff. Just jump into one. Loads of arcade games. Say there's 142 pages worth of this. So not entirely sure how many games are included, but there are lots. I would say there's maybe a few thousand games already sort of loaded onto the memory card itself. Got tons of NES games. Not entirely sure what the heck that is. Game Boy games, tons of them. Game Boy Advance, 908 pages of that. So yeah, there's a few thousand games in here for sure. MAME. Mega Drive. Now there's a lot of repetitive stuff in here. There may be some duplicates, maybe even some bad ROMs. I've already found one or two. Some things might not work, but the actual performance when you're playing it is fantastic. It is very capable. It's a cracking little device. Got a great little screen. There's a few issues like this, for example, in the open bore section. It's all obviously not in English, which might be a pain if you can't read that, which yeah, I can't. But I've been through them all. Most of them are kind of like as you see, they're Final Fight, Streets of Rage knockoffs. I think one of them is actually one of those sort of scrolling beat 'em ups as well. Anyway, we'll have a quick look at Night Stalkers is the one. PC Engine, tons of them. There's a few PS1 games as well included. It's really good at PS1 games. It plays them very capably indeed. Absolutely brilliant. We've got Super NES, tons of them. We've got Master System games. And there's this rather unusual new section which is like shoot 'em ups. I'll go through that a little bit later on, which is basically all the shoot 'em ups in the one folder, and some of them are playing across the screen, which is very odd indeed. So we've got Wonder Swan, loads of games in there, and that's that. So there are other places you can look at the games. I've included this RetroArch option here, and this kind of breaks the games down into different sort of functions. Now there is a lot of repetitive stuff like Arcade, Fireburn Neo, or Alpha I think it is, sorry. You'll find a lot of the same games are in this one as this one over here. So it just might be that some games might run better on the different sort of options there. But yeah, just be aware of that. You've got MAME, Atari Lynx games. There's nothing in some of these folders. Like I say, this is just plug and play. You would have to add your own ROMs by inserting it into your PC, the memory card that is. Wonder Swim, a lot of it is what you've already seen in the other pages. A lot of this has got additional folders that you can put your own ROMs in, but a lot of them are pretty much blank. Yeah, there's some nice stuff in here, but like I say, it's just another way of looking at it. One thing I did notice is that compared to the Miyoo Mini V2, there was a few sort of folders missing. Like Commodore 64, Amiga, that was already included, you could add that. But I can't actually see any options to, like, you know, include them. It might have to do another update, I guess, but we'll look at that in another video. In the sort of V2, there was options to tick what emulators you wanted to see, and those were included. But I don't see any of those settings here. It's kind of a basic look, to be honest. There is Pico 8 games in here, but there's no sound on them, and yeah, they're not in English either. But you can have a look at the sort of screenshots. They do work apart from no sound. Not sure why. TIC-80 is just like Pico 8, but there's no games. And that's really it. Pretty simple stuff. There's a few other app games in here as well. And again, I can't really read some of them. There is an interesting Super Mario port, which we'll also have a look at, which is kind of cool. A lot of these are kind of just ports and stuff. Settings, very basic stuff. You can set the brightness. You can add the Wi-Fi, so you can maybe get some updates. Change the colour that you've seen on the screen here. If you don't like red, you can change it to something else, whatever you like. Oh, no, if I'm trying to use touchscreen and it's not touchscreen. Sorry about that. Change the language, key mapping, background volume, themes. Again, there's actually a few screen sort of themes included here if you want to change it to it. I'm not going to mess about with it, but there's quite a lot to choose from if you don't like the one that's outside the box. So it's up to you what you do. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. It's pretty basic. That is it. So what we'll do is we'll have a little play test through some of the games, and I'll highlight some of the issues, if any. There's not really that many. I found this to be a really capable device. I think it's fantastic. But let's have a sort of brief playthrough of some of the games. Turn the sound up just a little bit. I won't waffle through it. Don't want to bore you. There's something I definitely noticed. Some of the games, I think Arcade, maybe a few others, have this. You can probably tell, you probably can't tell, but it's got the scan lines already included, and I couldn't find the way to actually turn it off. But some people might like that, some people not, but I'm pretty sure there will be a way to change it. Like if you press the function button, you can actually access save states, load native menu, which takes you into sort of, it's like a RetroArch background where you can potentially change and remove the scan lines if you don't like them in here. So there's a lot of options that you can mess about with if you feel like doing that. But if you don't really mind, you can just exit the game as normal and go straight to another game. So to start these arcade games, you press the select button to insert your coin and then press start. Sometimes I quite like the scan lines on, other times, nah. So one thing that is probably a little bit of a pain is there's not really some kind of search function that I could see. I don't think there is. Oh wait, maybe there is. Oh wait, there is. So if you press the function button when you're in the games, obviously it gives you the option to add to favourite, delete, yeah, or search for a game. Maybe the search function doesn't work. Probably doesn't work. What the heck? Anyway. Okay, found Rockman, which is obviously Mega Man, but yeah, it was called Rockman in Japan, I think. I couldn't find any Mario games included. Maybe they're there, maybe they're not. This is Game Boy, this is Metroid, obviously. Moving on to Game Boy Advance. Okay, playing Doom on Game Boy Advance now. Well, that's not how to play Doom. It's actually a really good version of Doom too. Great sound as well, isn't it? For such a small device, the sound is fantastic. It's only one sort of mono speaker as well, but you can accidentally muffle it when you're playing. But yeah, still, it does sound fantastic regardless. So playing through some more MAME. I'm not going to play through every single format and game here. I've done a more in-depth review of the V2 and I'll leave the links in the description if you're actually interested. So this is Sunset Riders. Really cool game. See, this is some Mega Drive now. Love this game in pretty much every format I was on. What a game. Fun. Lotus Turbo Challenge. Yeah, can't beat that yeehaw button. Probably not going to push the device very far, but it's really cool. I love this game. Yeah, this is so addictive. Okay, we're going to have a quick look at PlayStation 1 games, just a quick batch, and then we'll have a look at some other stuff, then wrap up the video. See, I've had a playthrough pretty much all the sort of formats that are here, and all of them play really well. I've had very, very little issues, so the performance has been really, really good. As was the version 2. Oh, figure out the controls. But yep, absolutely brilliant. You can see no issues playing PlayStation. I'm sure there's other stuff that might not run, but as far as I can tell, of all the games that I did play, PlayStation 1 was absolutely fine. And I think this is potentially the limit to what the device is probably going to play. It might be able to push something else, I guess, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this will be the limit of the device. Okay, before we sort of move on to some of the ports and stuff, look at this rather odd shoot 'em up thing. There's lots of shoot 'em ups in here, so there's 183 pages of this. So that's quite cool if you like your shoot 'em ups, but it's got one bizarre sort of thing that's going on, which I'll show you. Let's play. You see it sort of puts it in this aspect ratio, which is fine, and it seems to... the controls have been mapped so that you can play it this way and hold it like this. It's really bizarre. Wait. So the fire buttons seem to be on the trigger buttons, which is weird, and you still can manoeuvre the D-pad up and down. So it's a rather strange take in this sort of vertical aspect ratio, so you can still just use up and down to go up the screen, as if this is how it's meant, and use the trigger button to shoot. It kind of adds a slightly unusual dimension to this, so rather than playing it like this, which is probably how they intended, you can still play it like this, which is obviously not how it was intended, but it's kind of strangely fun, but obviously completely wrong. So all the games are set up like this, but just be careful. A lot of the buttons are mapped very oddly. You could there's a rewind, fast forward function on some of the triggers, and it does get a little bit confusing. Yeah, if you want to try and look at the options, good luck. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of these games. All I can say is the performance is fantastically well. Look at Pico 8, just one of the issues that I found. I'll find maybe a game of some description to sort of play that might actually have sound. I can't even remember if the originals do. But there's tons and tons of games in here. And I definitely love my Pico 8. The only thing with this is there is no sound in the actual games, so it's a little bit frustrating, but you can still play the games. They're all perfectly playable. Some really fun games, and this sort of screen is perfect for playing these little games as well. and the controls are absolutely fine, just there is no sound, and I couldn't find any way to actually activate the sound, so if anyone is watching and know how to fix that, let me know. But as far as I could see, there was no sound, which is a shame because there's some really nice games in here. Okay, one note that I've obviously wanted to fix is that it's pretty much the same as the V2. All the games included are probably the same, including bad ROMs. Such in the MAME, there's Alligator Hunt, which is the wrong version. It's the bad version of Alligator Hunt, which I'll show here. And by bad ROM, I mean it's not got any enemies on the map, so you can't actually play it. And I did actually highlight that in my original video, which is weird. But I'm sure there's other issues out there. It's basically what you see is what you get. A lot of the stuff I tried was fine. There was occasional issues, such as this one. Let's have a quick bash. So starts okay, but this is definitely a known thing I've found in a few devices, is this ROM is useless because there's no enemies to fight. If you've played this game before, you'll know what to expect here. Lots of enemies, but as you can see, there is none. You can't play. Can't even progress either. Pointless. Okay, one last thing I'm going to look at. Obviously there's a lot of information in here. There's a lot of sort of games that I don't recognise, but when you play them, a lot of them are kind of just they're kind of like ports, I guess, of sort of familiar style games. But this one is definitely the one that stuck out most. We've got a port of Super Mario 64, and it sounds and runs fantastic. There is, amazingly, there is actually a save included that has all the stars already collected. Not sure what that's all about, but there you go. You can obviously ignore that, or you can just get started and play it as it is. But yeah, it plays really, really well. Obviously the trigger buttons are using sort of mapped to the camera as well, and all the moves seem pretty good. Anyway, I think this is pretty impressive. Obviously this is a N64 game, but this is fantastic. And if you love Mario 64, this is here. You can start from scratch, or just have a mess about with a game that's already got all the stars included, which is kind of a weird. But yeah, you probably can tell I'm absolutely loving this little device. I think I'd prefer it to the V2, even though I love the V2, I think this size is just a little bit more comfortable in the hands. Obviously that novelty size of the V2 is really cool and quite nice, but I think this size is definitely more comfortable for playing purposes, especially if you're playing a little bit longer. The smaller device could be a little bit sore and a bit uncomfortable through longer playtime, but still it's pretty much the same device. I mean, if you've got the original and you're not sure, you might want to think twice, but it's still a fantastic device. If you've not picked up any of these yet, then you should have a look, pick up. This is one of the best little devices at this price range. It was about £60–65, which I got from Droix UK. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. But I think it's an absolutely cracking device. Really, really cool. One of the best devices, I say, at this price range, at this size. It's brilliant. Obviously, maybe in a future video I'll look at some additional extras, some different firmware, and see what else we can push this little thing to. But anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.